could argue it the other way, that it's, as you said, a poorly executed no-arms tackle where Luke McGrath's come off the worst.
And this is probably the moment of controversy of the match. Luke McGrath tries to come across and make a tackle, and I don't think you can call it a tackle. And to be perfectly honest with you, he just kind of throws his shoulder in Aarons' general direction. It looks like there's head-on-head contact. He's probably quite lucky it wasn't shoulder-on-head, but McGrath makes head-on-head contact and has to go off for a HIA. The try still scored, but understandably, bizarrely, it took them as long as Houston takes the conversion, misses it. They're about to kick off, and then Craig Evans goes, right, I'm going to go over to the screen and have a look. For some reason, like watching it live, you were going, right, they're going to check that straight away. Right, and look, as we know, the especially when you're in the grandstand side, you're kind of looking around the corner, around fans, trying to see the big screen. It was difficult to see. I got texts from people at home saying maybe Aarons had an elbow up away from his body, and there was a case for 2 cards. But I've watched it back again, and I'm not really sure how he went yellow, not red. To be perfectly honest with you, there wasn't really many dip, change direction, whatever. Yeah, if you want, you can say Aarons had his arm up, and there was a conversation around that. But in terms of McGrath getting only yellow, I thought he was very, very lucky. That was him gone. HIA. I don't 99% sure. You guys are correct me. He didn't come back. Gibson Park came back.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, he came back. That was Gibson Park replaced him when the period was over. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, I presume, are going to think that all Leinster fans think it wasn't even a yellow card for Luke. I mean, it was just the overwhelming opinion that I got was, I mean, I was surprised. I was just surprised he just even stayed upright, making the challenge. And I think that was the key to it. When with regards to the officials saw it, I mean, listening back, the referee's first look on the big screen, he actually says no foul play there. He's attempting to wrap. Those are his exact words on the first look. And I was like, what now?
What planet are you on?
And eventually Ben Whitehouse sort of skews it a little bit more to it. He says most of the force is going through the body, but the heads do kiss together, is what he says.
Phrase.
Yes,
kissing
indeed.
Of heads.
So there is head contact. I agree, and I think the initial contact was maybe a bit lower, but there's this still image, which is always a dangerous thing to share online, but still image going around of, you do see their heads clashing online and stuff. But I think the bottom line is, like, you have to draw back from guidelines and processes and stuff and say, what are we doing this for? And you want to improve the tackle technique. That is it. There was absolutely no way he should have stayed upright. If he had gone low, Aretsa hadn't put the ball down yet. If he had gone to get him low, it would have been A, safer, and B, probably a better chance of him spilling it. He could have put him off. He might have had a chance of at least getting him off the side of the pitch. But the bottom line is, like, I would agree. I would agree with the red card for that. I think there's no question of it. But anyway, listen.
I think you do have to have sympathy with players in those situations, because he's trying to stop a try. He's absolutely desperate. Like that can be hard to understand for people who, if A, never played rugby, and B, never played anywhere near that level, which obviously none of us, even those who have played rugby, have never played near that level. You can understand the desperation, but the whole point is we're trying to coach that desperation.
Yep.
Not coach it out of the game, because that's what leads to heroic goal line stands, holding the ball up. You know, God, Ireland have been victims of heroic ball being held up over the line in recent months. You don't want to coach that out of the game, but you want to coach that out of tackle tech. And honestly, it is literally, I know we see red cards nearly every week, and you scratch your head and go, when are we going to not see it? And to be fair to Irish teams, they have a really good record on this type of thing. We haven't seen in an Irish international game, and not since Peter O'Mahony got red carded during COVID in Wales, in Cardiff, went for that tucked arm clear out. I don't think we haven't been seeing an Irish player being sent off for poor ruck entry, poor headshot, and that helps. Like, that's been a massively talked about point of how they've won so many games in the last 2 years under Farrell. They don't get in those situations. Like, the reason why they beat England twice in a row or 3 times in a row is because England got 3 red cards. Do you know what I mean? So and that does filter down the provinces, which is why when this does happen, it's particularly shocking. I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's because they've got really good contact skills coaches in Ireland. I don't know why, but the whole point is, in Ireland, at least in the Irish provinces, that type of thing has been coached out of the game, which I think why it was so shocking to see, even with the context of the desperation. It was really shocking to see someone as experienced as McGrath, and as someone who's, let's be honest, has got a very clean record as McGrath, do something like that. And it probably is a sign of just how much pressure in general was on Leinster at that point of the game. As we mentioned, like this was the time where the Bulls looked like most likely they would win the game. So I think that all factors into it, but yeah, it's a rare Irish card.
Yeah, it's a drop in standards to what we've gone to expect. I mean, the same could be said for the way our defense was set up as they were running back, as the move started in the first place. People were in the wrong position; they just weren't stacked up right, and they blew by them, and it was actually made look easy. But one other aspect of that, because he hadn't put the ball down yet, where do you think, could it have been a penalty try? Or do you think there's a case because they were denied, like you say?
If he'd stayed at that altitude, if he'd stayed at that height, and managed somehow to drive him out, there's definitely, in my opinion, case for penalty try, because it's the poor technique is the problem. If he had been 2 feet closer to the sideline and somehow McGrath gets him out, but that clash of heads happens, then definitely penalty try.
Yeah, because Coetzee asked the ref.
An act of foul play is preventing the scoring of a try. That's why it would be.
Here's where I disagree with that wording, right? Preventing a scoring a try, because you cannot, like, ultimately, even if he scores the try, which he does, it is undeniable that the Bulls are in a better position with a 7-pointer under the posts.
Yes.
Than Goosen kicking a touchline conversion.
Again, it's the spirit of the law as opposed to the actual wording. Yeah.
Correct. You see this all the time. You see them agonizing over whether the guy's grounded the ball or not.
Yeah.
And you're going, well, hang on, your man hit him high, or your man was no arms, or your man is offside making the tackle. You've already decided that and can see that. Like, especially if it's in an advantageous position, like removing a touchline conversion. And Goosen, as we said, missed the conversion, and they would have been further ahead. They would have been 5 points instead of what was the deficit? It was
4 points instead of 2.
4 points instead of 2. Sorry, quick maths.
That would have made a bit. Yeah, that would make a bit.
It's not a massive difference in the scoreline, but
but in the context of the game and whatever, it seems like the just outcome from that situation, because if Luke had done nothing at all, just left him, he would have just put it down, and then they would have had the kick from the touchline. But he did commit a foul. He did do something. He added to the situation something that could have been dangerous for Arenza as well as himself. And so what extra do you put onto that? You can give them the 7 points. There was an option that could have been there. But anyway, listen, we've discussed it, but we're all agreed anyway that it was foul play. It could have been, definitely could / should have been a red card. I know a lot of people think that Leinster thought that maybe it could have even gone the other way, but that's not the case from what I've seen.